Speaking of talking out of your ass, trying to get this in over the wire. Ladies and gentlemen, this fella, seldom do we encounter a man who can blather and dissemble the way Glenn Beck can. He's been relegated to his little cabin in the woods set with his little parallax camera move. I like it. I don't get it, but I like it. Sure, keep some movement, because listening to him, I guess, talk while sitting still is boring as shit. So cover your ass, whatever you can. But Glenn, listen to this. Glenn loses it after CNN's blatant lie about Trump and nuclear war. Well, my goodness. Seriousness, let's see.
Here is what I heard on CNN yesterday.
Here's what I heard on The Blaze today. Glenn Beck is sick again. All right, dude. Look. Either you've got to get rid of your pets, or stop wearing wool, or just stop, I guess, shotgunning Sonic milkshakes.
To listen to this, cut one.
I want to play one exchange that was kind of classic. Well, there were a lot of exchanges that were classic Donald Trump, but this one really stuck out to us.
And Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
right,
it's
right,
really
right.
not
That's
something
right.
that, you know.
That's right.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically.
So that was more Elon Musk than Donald Trump, talking about, sort of suggesting that what happened almost 80 years ago, I think 80 years ago next year, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, now it's okay. Kind of trying to blow off the impact of that.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Glenn is very upset. He's emotional, guys. I'm trying to hold it together.
Some of us are responsible.
Some of us manage our diet and our exercise very well. Others have to be sequestered in a small cabin so they don't make everyone else sick.
Some of us listen to the entire 2 hours of Donald
Yeah, that's not responsible. That's insane.
Trump and Elon Musk because it was an important conversation.
Okay, I gotta say this because it's grossing me out, and because he just rubbed his face, his nose is necrotic. I don't know if it's gonna fall off. Like, he's just gonna have to get a Michael Jackson / Dan Aykroyd in Nothing But Trouble prosthetic replacement, but it's purple and it's staying that color, and it's grossing me out.
And some of us realized that Donald Trump is truly terrified of nuclear war.
Well, for the record, he doesn't understand nuclear power or the concept of a nuclear explosion, how it works, what's required to make it happen. He doesn't understand any of it, and he's terrified of anything he doesn't understand. That's why he gets so angry, because all anger is based on loss, and he believes that lost face is the worst thing that can happen to you. That's why he thinks Afghanistan was embarrassing and not shameful, because he can't feel shame. He can only feel embarrassment.
Understands that it's the end of the world if we have nuclear war. And
Well, we have a full-scale nuclear war, yeah. Also, and the point is that in that little exchange, Elon Musk is of the opinion that if anybody survives it, in about 80 years, things will be kind of back to normal. I mean, you can eat the food and hang out, anywhere there was a nuclear blast, radiation schmadiation was his entire point.
Warned maybe 7 times we cannot get into a nuclear war. When Elon Musk said, well, the economy, he said, yes, the economy, but the number one killer of the entire system of the world will be nuclear war. And
sure. Okay. If I may, also true of giant asteroid, and the chances of an asteroid eventually striking the Earth are like 1 to 1. And if humanity spent all of their time that we have at, our intellect, our inventiveness, everything, just preparing for that day, it would make the existence of humanity worthwhile to every other animal that's ever lived on Earth, because none of them could do it. And that's a real serious problem. Now, does that mean you blow off issues with the economy or affordable housing or healthcare because you're like, holy shit, an asteroid might hit us? No. But if you're saying, yeah, economy, blah, 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 we're going to get nuked. This is a nuclear war on we're staring down the barrel of the end times. Well, then it's what Jesus wants. Why are you throwing yourself in between God and his plan?
We cannot go into World War III. So he said that 7 times at least.
Yeah, but that's because he's repetitive and he's a lunatic.
Over and over and over again.
Right, that's because also Russia has given him instructions to scare everybody that if we try to stop them from destroying Ukraine, they'll nuke everybody. That's, again, I've said this before, but to Russia, mutual assured destruction, MAD, is actually an umbrella under which they can attack anybody they want, because if we try to stop them, they can always threaten that they're going to get into a nuclear war. That's what they always do. And that's the water pail that Trump is carrying for Vladimir Putin.
I think it was his main point.
Which is fucking ridiculous.
And so, wait, classic Donald Trump saying it was no big deal? Wait a minute. His main point was that nuclear war is on the horizon and it cannot be an option.
Yeah, nobody's arguing that nuclear war should be an option, you fucking lunatic. No one. And nobody's arguing that it's not something we should fear. What they were pointing out was that in the discussion about nuclear war, which Donald Trump seems nearly as fixated on as he is being electrocuted or eaten by a shark. I mean, we're halfway between. He's like, if you could be nuked or eaten by a shark, I'll take nuked every time. Wait for that turn in his conversation. That in the process of having that conversation, he and Musk came to the conclusion that, Nagasaki and Hiroshima are doing just fine. Even at one point in that interview, Elon Musk says something about, like, you can eat the food at Fukushima now. It's not a big deal. It's all safe.
So here's what he actually said, if you want to put context with it.
Yes. By the way, just for the record, having watched more rallies than Glenn Beck has of Donald Trump all the way through, and fact-checked and joked through the whole thing more than anybody, I think, literally anyone online. I have done more of this. Context is not Donald Trump's friend. Ever. There's never a time where, like, oh, okay, I see what he was saying.
I'm showing you, just because you need to tell your friends.
I do. And you have to tell your friends. I have to tell my friends. You have to tell your friends. Everybody in the chat, you have to tell your friends, because Glenn doesn't have any friends. And so he can't tell his friends because they don't exist.
Liars don't like liars.
Oh, is that why J.D. Vance and Trump are fighting? Cool.
Okay? Nobody likes a liar. Even liars don't like liars.
How do you know? What if they told you they did? Would you believe them? I don't like him. Why? He's a liar. But you're a liar. And? Well, how do I know you don't like him? Maybe you do.
So you got to start talking to your friends and saying, look, here's the evidence.
No lie.
You have been lied to. You are being manipulated.
Terrible. And, I mean, obviously I don't have any friends that watch The Blaze, but if I did, they'd all go, yeah, that's why I watch.
This is Goebbels-style propaganda.
It's Goebbels style. Like, this is dead serious. Okay, so whatever Trump said was the exact opposite of what actually occurred there. When he was saying great exactly or great, that's great, to Elon Musk saying that Hiroshima and Nagasaki are perfectly good towns now, and you don't have to worry about radiation at all, and there was no damage, and blah, blah, all that. Great. Okay, he actually said, that's terrible. What are you talking about? You're an insane person. This has obviously been edited. Now, Glenn looks happy here, but I don't feel like he is.
Everywhere. It's just not directed, well, I don't think. They all seem to use the same phrases immediately at the same time, so maybe...
Oh, you mean like stolen valor? Like how all the right wing just decided to keep saying stolen valor, even though it does not apply at all to Tim Walz at all? Just, you know, in the argument that he didn't earn the rank that he had, or whether he was one step down from that rank, or where he had gotten that rank in time, or all that stuff, that he stole valor. He didn't steal valor from anybody. Meanwhile, Trump says, people who died on D-Day were suckers and losers.
It is, I don't know, but it's not necessarily coordinated from a central hub, although it may be. And they are lying to, and I will show you some of the lies. And it's not just about policy, it's about important things.
Policy is very important. Policy is actually how important things get handled. You have to have a policy, and then you got to pass a bill. And usually, if you have no policy, then obviously, never mind.
That will impact your life and possibly the life of our planet.
Oh, you mean like climate change legislation? Yeah, I agree. I mean, we should all do everything we possibly can to, improve the impact that we have on the climate, especially, and become as carbon neutral as we possibly can. Methane's obviously a big problem. Oh, that's not what you're talking about. I see. You're just talking about like flash nuclear war and some sort of fantastical sci-fi nightmare you think we all live in.
So what did he actually say? Cut 2.
There's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. And if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining operation.
Right. I don't want to. Yeah, you never want to pick on coal mines. It's a great way to die, actually. There's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that,
maybe they'll have to change the name. The name is it's a rough name. There are some areas like...
Yes, you might have to change the name. This is true. I thought about that myself a few times, but I don't know if perhaps if we would call it something else, perhaps.
That's rough
like
name.
When you see what happened in...
Good bad branding.
Right, we'll have to rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something.
Yes, we'll call it Elon instead of protons. We'll call them Elons, and we'll call it Musk Energy. Instead of nuclear energy, we'll brand it after you. We'll call it, we'll use Musk units. Just so that, because I can obviously say nuclear without many problems, but if you say Musk energy units.
No, it has a branding problem. When you see what happened.
It does have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say.
Yeah, when you see what happened in Japan, why does he sound like a low-level hitman in a Godfather / Goodfellas screen test?
Won't be able to go in the land for about 3,000 years.
Oh, you think nuclear energy's fucking funny? You think it's funny to you? I'm funny to you? How am I funny? Huh? You stupid son of a bitch.
Ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they. There's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're right about it. It's amazing.
It's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Trump's understanding that in only 2,000 years, you can go back to Chernobyl. Is the idea, and Elon Musk is saying no, it's not even that bad. It's been just a couple of years since Fukushima, and it's fine now.
Like people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's actually, it's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And
Also, there's a huge difference between like acute radiation poisoning and cancer. Like exposure to radiation that causes cancer. Like he does realize that we understand that there's a level of radiation that will like cook you right there on the spot, where like boils break out in your skin and you start to decay like a Nazi at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then there's enough where you don't notice and it kills you. That's actually, for a lot of people, way more concerning, because you can live under the illusion that you're fine for quite some time and then everybody dies. Like, does that not register with him? Like, hey, idiot, the eating the vegetables isn't going to poison you right then. You're not going to eat them and die on the spot. The idea is that you're eating irradiated food, and eventually, like, as you stack the level of exposure, your chances of getting cancer go up exponentially. There's like this huge fucking arc.
Donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
yeah, but you haven't
because
been
the danger
feeling
is
so
just-
well lately, and I'm worried about it.
No, but I mean,
I'm only kidding.
It's
I'm
fine, It's
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. You haven't been feeling well lately. Like he's just, I don't know what he sounds like Jerry Lewis to me. I was just saying, Dean, boy.
It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
Right.
it's
Well, that's
really
great.
not
That's
something that
That's
um,
right.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically. But
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I love that Glenn thinks this is a huge dunk on Dana Bash, and that I caught you guys. No, that's exactly what he said. When she brought that part up, she didn't have to play the rest of it. We got it. It's just as stupid. That's ridiculous. Also, the bombs at Hiroshima and Nagasaki are like, 1/50th of some of the bombs that exist right now. Oh, God. But this is now. Let's all have a moment, folks, because Glenn has had it, okay, with you and your bullshit. All right, you can't attack Donald Trump and Elon Musk. You're not smart enough to attack these two giants. Who are you?
So, was he trying to excuse and say what happened 80 years ago was not so bad? Is that what Donald Trump was talking about? Is that what Elon Musk was talking about?
You'll notice that in the clip that he played earlier, Dana Bash specifically said the impact, because she and what happened in the context of the rest of the conversation that they had, clearly there was they were discussing the radiation and the fallout and the cancer and the birth defects and all the stuff that happened afterward. That's what they were discussing, right? That's what they were talking about. And this douchebag wants to decontextualize the first clip. That it's just so lame.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Actually, specifically, he was downplaying the impact precisely. I would say at all. Yes, at all. Yeah, he was specifically saying that the radiation fallout and the damage done is no big deal, and those cities are fine now, and you can eat vegetables at Fukushima Daiichi, and like Trump may have been talking about the absolute utter destruction of the world if we got into a full-scale nuclear war, which is like okay, sure, we all have that conversation. That is well within the layman's level of knowledge about a full-scale nuclear war between two nuclear powers that just lay waste to the entire planet. Fine. That's not the discussion, though. The discussion that they were having was in defense of nuclear-powered electrical plants, that he was worried that somehow they've gotten a bad rap because of nuclear war, and his way of trying to rehab their image was saying, actually, what happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki is not so much a big deal. Jesus Christ.
I'm telling you, I think the media is going to do Donald Trump a favor. Did you?
Are they? They're really going to do him a favor? Probably playing clips of that. We'll just keep doing it, you think?
Here, play cut 3. This is Stephen Colbert. Listen to this. This is how out of touch they are.
It's kind of been this moment.
I can't play that. By the way, this is when Caitlin Collins was on there, and they made a joke about CNN, fact-checking stuff, or like, apparently it is a laugh line or whatever, but I can't play it because
they're not fair and objective.
You think the Blaze and those guys go after you. Like, there is no contextual additive commentary I can do to a clip from the Late Late Show.
The
Late Show.
I just played it for you. So they're a laugh line now. People understand what is happening right now. Now, we're going to talk about the poll numbers with Trafalgar here in a few minutes.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to see that it's having an impact. But you can only do this for so long. What is their long-term plan?
Oh, I see. So the idea is that I'm just gauging this based on what we know of Glenn and stuff, is that their big concern, and this is why he's angry. This makes total sense now. All right, they're responding to the fact that not only has Harris overtaken Trump in all of the swing states, she is within the margin of error in Florida. And the Senate candidate in Florida is a full 10 points ahead of the Democrat is 10 points ahead of the Republican in a bunch of polling. And it's making them really nervous that vote combined with hers will just bring out Democrats all over the place, and Republicans won't show up, and it's a nightmare. That's what he's pissed about. I mean, look at his face. This is good. This is good stuff.
When they make her into this, sweet little girl who just wants to do the right thing, and she's got a teddy bear of a vice president, and they're just going to give America.
See? Yeah. They're not handling it well.
How are they going to explain the effects of their socialist programs?
The socialist programs? What do you mean, like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, public schools? Those aren't that. None of that's socialist. Wait, what do you mean? The FBI, the IRS, any government programs at all? Everything's socialist. Anything taxpayers pay for, it's suddenly socialist, and it's not just the act of democratic taxation where people have a say in how their taxes are spent. That's why we have a representative government.
Do it. The jig is up. It's over. It's over.
Yeah. Sorry, Harris. You may be like having huge rallies, and there's tons of money coming in, and your popularity's through the roof. And J.D. Vance is talking to parking lots full of assholes in Michigan, and Tim Walz is having entire little mini stadiums filled. But you might think things are going your way. They're not. It's over. Okay, you might as well pack it in. I would quit. If I were you.
And it hasn't caught up yet.
Right. All right. You may be so busy winning that you don't even realize you're losing. You know what I mean? Now, that seems like a great title for a biography of Donald Trump, but it's not. Okay. This is the Harris trajectory.
People, because they are so blatant now, that people are going to turn on them. It's going to happen exactly the way it happened with the taking Trump to court all the time. Which, by the way, did you see that the UAW is taking Donald Trump and Elon Musk to court?
Yeah, for unfair trade practices, like violation of workers' rights, just firing people just to fire them. Yeah, that's what they do. It's kind of, I mean, it's, fucking workers, right, Glenn? I mean, they're a pain in the ass. Like, you shouldn't have to listen to them. They should take their check and go home. Thank you. They're lucky stars that geniuses like you start a business in the first place. Why should they be able to count on it? You know what I mean? Like, who are they? They're just doing the job. Oy, God.
Yeah, it's really weird. They just will not learn a lesson. Apparently.
Well, then I don't know what you're worried about. You seem very angry that you're winning so easily.
United Auto Workers, who Donald Trump is probably the biggest friend to the auto workers.
What are you talking about? He was against the auto bailout, which, by the way, also included money that effectively turned Tesla into a real company. He was against it. He was against saving the big three. He thought they should all be allowed to fail after 2008, even though none of that was their fault.
Because he's going to stop all of this electric car bull crap that...
Oh, right. That's because American auto workers are too stupid to make electric cars because they're grease monkeys. They don't know how to do that stuff. Holy shit. By the way, can I just, for a couple points, our rental car here is electric, and it's a cute little Chevy something or other. What's it's what?
Bolt.
Yeah, it's a Chevy Bolt. It's that little guy right there. And it's got a range of like 250 miles. We've only had to charge it once. We didn't really even have to. We're just going to go on a longer drive tomorrow, so we thought we would. And it cost us $4 to add 100 miles to its charge. It's adorable, this car. And even then, it's not like, like even the top of like 200, and it's a cheaper car, I'm sure. But as rentals go, it's like, 300 downhill. Yeah, it's 250 mile range, and we're not even at the beginning of the EV revolution. But it was they offered it to us as a rental, and we said yes. It was cool, and it's been a dream. It's great. So just saying, about 4 cents per mile. Yeah. It literally, there was a charging station at Epcot, and we hooked up. Was it Epcot or Hollywood Studios? Yeah, they have them. They have 4 of them at each of the parks, and they're all full most of the time. But they had one free at this one, so we plugged it in, and it was about $4. We were at 160 miles or something, like range left, and it charged up to 250.
Nobody wants to buy.
Well, no, they're the new tech, so they're more expensive, and there's a lot of aspects to them. They're higher priced vehicles because they're premium, and then as they expand and as there are more charging stations, then people will want to buy them. This is the same thing that was true of unleaded gasoline, which, by the way, taking the lead out of gasoline is also something Glenn was against and still is. Just letting you know.
So Ford can't make trucks because they have all kinds of quotas they have to hit with cars that nobody wants to buy. You think you're going to keep your...
No, it's that the electric F-150 costs $60,000 more than the baseline gas one, even with the subsidies. That's why.
Bob, you really think that's the future auto workers? No,
of course not. American auto workers can't make Teslas. They're morons. Are you kidding me? Tell them, Glenn. Teslas can't be made in the United States. Our workers are too weak and stupid. I don't know if, other than Donald Trump, the only person who says it better is Glenn himself. stop even trying, you grease monkeys. You're relegated to the past, and you're never going to get better. It's just this is where it ends for you. You know, you and the Harris campaign. It's over, even though you feel like it's not. Even though you just got a great contract for the first time in a long time. Even though the president stood on the picket line with you, you know, that's just another sign you're losing. Okay.
Smarter than that. You know that. So now the head.
By the way, I've already decided my next car is going to be an electric car. I'm just not going to get rid of my car just to get rid of a car. It still runs, it still works, but my next car is going to be electric, period.
United Auto Workers. And
Prestige says, why are all these crackpots drug addicts? I guess being an asshole must be exhausting. Can you imagine getting up every day and doing, you know, I do this show practically every day. I take Sundays off, you know, for the Lord. But the rest of the time, why does that strike you as so funny? I don't know. That made Summer laugh, and that's all that matters. You know, 6 days a week I'm doing this show, and it's, you know, I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I love doing it. I look forward to doing it, mostly because of you guys. Way to go, Sparklers. You guys are a joy to be around. But it's work. I mean, you gotta, you know, I've got to keep up on the stories. I've got to keep up on, you know, I've got to make sure that I have enough information to have, you know, multiple views of a story if it's coming up, so that I can give you a take that's worth listening to instead of just hearing the same recycled shit that you hear from other people, right? And there's so much to it that, you know, it's still a job, even though it's fun. It still requires a certain amount of work. Can you imagine? It would be fucking torture to get up every day and do basically the same kind of show Glenn is doing that I'm doing, you know, obviously on the cheap. But know that you have, like, to be painfully aware that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm dead serious. Honest to God. Like, we've heard him say a couple of times, he even gave us that drop, like, I'm not an expert on anything. Like, I think it's becoming even more shockingly clear to Glenn Beck that he doesn't know shit. Like, it's beyond, like, I'm not an expert. Thank you, the Prestige. Appreciate it. Right? Like, we're well beyond him, like, I'm no genius about these things, but I know a thing or two about a thing or two. Like, at this point, he's just fucking stupid, and he knows it. It's got to be awful. I mean, I have no sympathy for the man because he's mean as shit, and he treats his staff like garbage, and he's a dick. And he's the only person he's probably worse to than his staff is his own physical person. Right? But good Lord. Just, like, how do you get up every day and crank out his, you know, because The Blaze is his business, it's his company. So all those shows that are on are, you know, I suppose he's doing some level of producing them or oversight, maybe. At least, you know, creating them in the first place and, you know, working with the people and then setting them on autopilot and hoping they work out and just filling time. But he's on like 3 times a day. He does his radio show, and then he's on his little specials that he does. And I mean, there's a lot of content from this dickhead. And now I have never, with all of his fucking chalkboard shit and him, you know, giving these almost like TED Talk, like 3-hour TED Talks on these conspiracy ideas he had, I have never once seen him say something where I was like, oh, okay, he obviously understands the issue. Ever. Like, I've, you know, obviously seen people who are full of shit before. Rusty Trombone is full of shit. Alex Jones is full of shit. But they sell this kind of idea that they're like, you know, almost because of maybe it's because they're like a grandiose character. They kind of get away with it. They kind of show off a little bit. So maybe that's it. Maybe because they got like a show-off's personality, like yours truly, that they have they can that's a veneer over, well, you expect a certain level of bullshit with somebody like that, right? Whereas Glenn is too boring to be this ignorant. Imagine if Tom Hartman was hitting the head with a hammer. You know what I mean? And he was just kind of like, what show are we doing today? I'm Martha, where am I? Like that kind of thing. Like just I don't get it.
Filed federal labor charges against former President Trump and Elon Musk following their interview because during the conversation, who the Washington Examiner points out was delayed due to a technical difficulty, Trump and Musk advocated.
Also, the Washington Examiner is just telling you the truth. It was delayed because of a technical issue, and the Washington Examiner is pro-Trump. They're the ones who they're the ones who are always blowing smoke up his ass in D.C. That is the MAGA paper of record in Washington.
Legal firing of striking workers, and you can't do that.
Right, that's what unions do. No, you can't. It's an illegal firing of striking workers. Yeah, that was the point.
Unbelievable.
Actually, completely believable. Like, what's unbelievable, I think, is that Trump and Elon Musk were dumb enough to, like, brag about this shit on the air.
Unbelievable.
Completely believable. That's how you know it's believable. If something is completely reasonably believable, count on Glenn Beck to say, it's unbelievable. You're unbelievable. By the way, you're unbelievable. No, you are. No, you are.